That will never be normal without knowing where my daughter is.
I want to read a little bit of this. This came out in 2019, August 23rd, 2019. And it's Polk County, Wisconsin. It said, exactly a decade ago this month, a 21-year-old mother of 2 small children left her home in rural Polk County near St. Croix Falls to visit a cousin a few miles away. It was the last time her family ever saw Rose Marie Bly. 10 years later, after 200 tips and interviews with 150 people, the Polk County Sheriff's Office has now decided to take a new approach to generate new leads. This was 2 years ago. The family is hurting, Sheriff Brent Walk said at a news conference on Friday to update the public at the 10-year mark. That's why we're here today. In addition to releasing an age progression photo of Bly, who will now be 31 then, so about 33 now, the Sheriff's Office also produced a short video to distribute on social media. The video features interviews with Bly's mom, as well as the sheriff himself, to remind the public of what happened in August of 2009. I did share that video in Rose's playlist. With advances in social media, the Sheriff's Office hopes the case can expand its reach. We want people to start sharing the story. We want people to start talking about it again, Walk said. We want it to be on the forefront of people's minds. I wonder if he really knew that he was going to get what he asked for. Because, Sheriff, we are talking about Rose again. And all because of Summer. Isn't that interesting? Investigators have never publicly identified a suspect or any suggested motive, but they did receive an early clue. Just days after she went missing, Bly's car was found about 30 miles north of her home in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. Investigators gathered evidence and DNA from the scene, but there was still no trace of Bly. The small community of Grantsburg hasn't forgotten about the case. They want to see it solved. It would mean a lot, especially for this town, which has been through a lot, Megan Schallenberger said. And for her family, it would mean a lot. Bly's children, who were ages 2 and 1 at the time of her disappearance, have never known their mother. The mystery is solvable, Sheriff Walk said. We just need to find that vital piece of information. Anyone with information is asked to call a tip line at 715-485-8300. Now, Rose has been missing since 2009, but this again came out in 2019. The sheriff wanted then, only 2 years ago, to revitalize this case and bring it back. And I know he did not mean for it to happen this way. But in either case, he's asking us to say her name. This is why Rose Marie Bly has been added to my playlist. They're not done with it. We're not done with it. And something that really blew my mind away is that we just read that the car was found in Grantsville. It was reportedly at a truck stop. We're going to come back to that. So she left from 2300 East River Road, where she lived, from where, the way I understand it. She was headed up right here to Cushing. Right here. And she never made it. I mean, what? The first thing I think is you've been followed. If you're going so close and you never make it, you've been followed, in my opinion. Could it have been random? Sure. It seems like pretty quick. They said it was 5 miles I think I got 10 when I did this map, but 5 to 10 miles away on a normal day. As we know, normal day. I'll keep digging to verify that. But the kicker is where they found the car, as they said, roughly 30 miles away. This is the nearest truck stop, that I could locate in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. And what blew me away, it just kind of actually freaked me out. As soon as I navigated this and I touched this just above it, the Meadow State wildfire area, another big open, marshy, mushy water and trees and dirt, and it's a wildlife refuge right by the truck stop where her car was found. I just thought that was interesting. Those two facts, that she was going so close and never made it, and that her car would be taken all the way up here and left in Grantsburg. Wow, there's another state park right there. Sheesh. Those are always scary because so much land and stuff. But she left from here going this way, headed up to Cushing to meet a girlfriend at a bar. Friend or cousin, one of the two. She never makes it here. Never. But her car ends up down here at a truck stop in Grantsburg, Wisconsin. There we go. EW Trucking Incorporated, right? Just wanted to show the affiliation to the trucking company in the family. He was there from September 30th, 2005 all the way up to July 25th, 2018. He was. Now, it's not in Grantsburg, but it was a truck stop. Okay, so just to pop back over, truck stop, where the car was found, way up here in Grantsburg. Anyway, Grandma also lived in Grantsburg. I don't know, let's see, 633 North Nelson. Would she dare have been? Let me see. Can I get another one? She lived in the same city that her daughter's car was found in. Oh my God. Look at Grandma's house. Oh my God, seriously. Grandma lives moments from the truck stop area. Moments. So why left home here, headed here, never made it, goes missing somewhere between here and here, and then her car ends up here, moments away from Grandma's house? See, Grandma is becoming what in math I think they would call the common denominator. It's messing with me. It's really, really messing with me. Anyway, wow. This lady is a common denominator. And then we see on the map, you guys saw it pop up in real time. I've never navigated this part ever. I only had it up to here. But when you go from Sinclair to that address on Grandma's, oh my God, records. This is where she lived in Grantsburg. And Donald Wells worked for DW Trucking. Car at a truck stop. Brother-in-law works at a trucking company. Grandma lives right up the street from the trucking company. What is going on again with this family? Oh my God. Marie Bly went missing from St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin in 2009. She was last seen driving away from her home about 7:30 p.m. to meet a cousin in Cushing, Wisconsin, at a bar. Marie Bly is the aunt of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells from Tennessee. That story, and we are still following that story. Rose's car, a 2001 Pontiac Grand Am, was found abandoned 4 days after she was reported missing. Now, this story, says at the municipal lot west of the post office in Grantsburg. What I want you to know is it doesn't matter if it was the municipal parking lot west of the post office or actually in the truck stop, because they're right there together. But the other ad specifically says truck stop. We'll see what the sheriff says when we listen to him talk about it. But I navigated to the post office as well. It's darn near the exact location as the truck stop, so I can see how they got that confused. Both of them would be the same distance to Grandma's. Okay? I don't even feel like changing my map up to show you. Feel free to play with the map. You will see what I'm telling you. Oh my God, that just freaked me out. Okay, so here we go. Grandma says, I'm just at wit's end because I don't know what happened. Her mother, Candy Hara of Grantsburg, Wisconsin, told TwinCities.com. She doubts her daughter, who wanted to be a children's book author, would have left on her own. She was an amazing mother who would never leave her children, Hara said. So I'm going to read it again. I'm just at wit's end because I don't know what happened. Her mother, Candy Hara of Grantsburg, Wisconsin, told TwinCities.com. She doubts her daughter, who wanted to be a children's book author, would have left on her own. She was an amazing mother who would never leave her children, Hara said. Assuming that's how you say that last name. Police have been called to the home in the past. Larson accused of slapping him. Hold on, did I skip something? Because that doesn't read right. No? Okay. Police have been called to the home in the past. Larson accused her of slapping him, and she accused him of putting her in a headlock and slamming her to the ground, according to police and court records. He filed for divorce in June, but they reconciled, and he withdrew the petition. That was June. She went missing in August. 2 months later. Police are trying to piece together what happened in the days before she went missing. Her husband, Christopher Larson, believes Rose left on her own. He filed for divorce again in 2010 and was granted temporary sole custody of their daughters, court records said. Larson took a polygraph and was cleared. So the husband did take a polygraph, they're saying, and he was cleared. She told Chris at the time that she was going to her cousin's, and I was meeting her there for us all to go out. This is by Nicole Eastfield. She told Chris at the time that she was going to her cousin's, and I was meeting her there for all of us to go out. He showed up at my parents' house the next morning, and they called me, and he was on the phone asking me if I knew where his wife was. And I asked who it was that was talking to me, and he said, Chris Larson. And I said, who? And he said, Rose's husband. Have you seen my wife? I said, no. And he said, well, she never came home this morning and said she was going out with you and her cousin last night. Now, Nicole, I guess, is just a friend, but why wouldn't he call the cousin? I mean, she was, you know what I mean? Like, she was going to her cousin's, and then Nicole was going to meet her there to go out as well. I don't know. Okay, keep going. Investigators searched her phone records, drained a lake, and followed up on several reports of sightings. She was never located. Since 2009, they have handled over 200 tips on this case and have interviewed over 150 people. She is 5 feet tall, weighs 110 pounds, and has light brown hair and brown eyes. She has a tattoo of cherries on her right ankle. Her ears and belly button are pierced. Bly was last seen wearing jeans, a green V-neck sweater over a white tank top, and flip-flop sandals. This is the VICAP alert. If you have any information on the disappearance or whereabouts of Rose Bly, please contact the Polk County Sheriff's Office at 715-485-8300. They are still very interested, okay? Do not hesitate to call. Now, keep Grandma on your mind now. I'm going to keep taking you back to this map because this is blowing me away. She left from here just to go here and never made it. Somehow her car made it all the way down here into a parking lot in this vicinity, not too far from Grandma's house in Grantsburg. That is interesting. Now, let me find the other statement. And I'm going to start with this, and then I'll back up and read the whole article. But this is what is really just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's eating me up right now. So the story is Bly fell off a horse a week before her disappearance. She told her mother she was having headaches after the accident, and her mother advised her to see a doctor. But there's no evidence she ever did. So I just want to point out now, her mother that we are talking about is good old Grandma, the same one that said that Summer came for a piece of candy. Okay? Mama is the only one that told them her daughter fell off the horse and that she was having headaches and that Mom was telling her to go to the doctor. So this is what Mom said happened. And then Bly's mother, Summer's grandmother, speculated her daughter became disoriented due to her injury and wandered away. There is no evidence to support any theory, however. Bly's case remains unsolved. So Grandma, she just got all the stories. That's the way I see it. She's the one that is just Johnny on the spot. Fell off a horse last week and bumped her head and wouldn't go to the doctor. I told that girl to go to the doctor. Not listen. Now look at her. Wandered off. Really? She got in her car and left her house driving up to a whole other city, and then all of a sudden her head got dizzy and she got out and what? Or she drove straight past Cushing and drove her own car all the way up down the street from Grandma's and parked at the truck stop and got out and took her keys and never turned around. Disoriented. I'm just saying, their stories all sound so extra. And Grandma, smack dab in the middle of things. So let's read the whole article. Details of disappearance. Bly was last seen in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin at 7:30 p.m. on August 21st, 2009. She left her home in the 2300 block of River Road to travel 4 or 5 miles to Cushing, Wisconsin to meet a cousin at a bar. She was driving a white 2001 Pontiac Grand Am with the Wisconsin license plate numbered 535 MAB. Sometime that night, Bly contacted her husband and said she'd be home by midnight. She never arrived in Cushing, however, and has never been heard from again. Bly's car was found in a parking lot near a post office in Grantsburg, Wisconsin, 5 days after her disappearance. The lot is normally used by semi-truck drivers to park their tractor trailers. So, we can clarify right now what's going on here. What they've just said is that this lot is a truck stop, but it was used by the semi-truck drivers to park their tractor trailers. So it's in the west end of the post office, but it is most certainly a place for trucks to park. So no more questioning what kind of place it was. It was sort of both. And let's just remember DW Trucking and Grantsburg. I'm just saying, coincidences, right? He works for a trucking company. His daughter's missing now. Grandma lives right up the street. Had a great story. And same thing is happening right now with Grandma with Summer. Those coincidences are just too great for me to ignore. So, okay, we know now the lot is normally used by semi-truck drivers to park their tractor trailers. The car was undamaged. There was no evidence of foul play, and the keys were missing. Grantsburg is about 30 miles from St. Croix and 15 miles from Cushing. Bly has family living there, and she graduated from Grantsburg High School. Bly left behind a husband and 2 daughters under the age of 2. She doesn't have any credit or debit cards, and she left home with very little money. Bly's husband filed for divorce 3 weeks after her disappearance and sought a court order to prevent her from returning and taking the children. They married in February of 2009, so they had just gotten married in February. And this is happening in August. That wasn't a very long marriage. Their relationship was troubled, and police were called to the home at least once to intervene in a domestic violence incident. Bly's husband accused her of slapping him, and she accused him of putting her in a headlock and banging her head on the ground. Wrestlers, my God. He had previously filed for divorce in June 2009, but withdrew the filing after he and Bly reconciled. So the thing is, he really wanted to divorce in June, but they worked it on out. He withdrew the filing, and they reconciled. Bly's husband passed a polygraph, and he isn't considered a suspect in her disappearance. His divorce petition was granted in 2010, and he has sole custody of their daughters. And then this is where they say, Grandma said, Bly fell off a horse a week before her disappearance. She told her mother she was having headaches after the accident, and her mother advised her to see a doctor, but there's no evidence she ever did. Bly's mother speculated her daughter became disoriented due to her injury and wandered away. There is no evidence to support any theory. However, Bly's case remains unsolved. So, can we say wow? Seriously, wow. So, Grandma lives up there in Grantsburg. There's also, the post office, wildlife place I showed you. Post office and the truck stop are almost one and the same. And then you got Grandma's up here, which is right here. Sinclair, post office, Grandma's. Cushing, home, car. Common denominators, Donald Wells and Grandma Harrer, however you say that. Why are they all up in this mix like this? And you know, if you get away with something once, you'll try it again. And I will say this before I play this video and we see with this sheriff who he's just pledged his heart to this, finding her. He's the one that I read the first article from 10 years later that believes that we're just waiting on a vital piece of information. This case right here is why I believe the Summer Wells' case went into automatic overdrive. I really do. I think that the name Bly, B-L-Y, is really, really, really high up on the radar, police radar. Bly, Harrer, those names ring bells. And I think they think this is all tied together and it's all going to lead to something. There's something really big going on in my mind right now. As I look at these two cases and I think about how many boots were on the ground and how fast. Not that they shouldn't care about summer like that. They absolutely should. But it was like extreme day one. And I think it's because the name Bly flicked in the computer system and it's on again. I really do. Anyway, Sheriff, you got your wish. We're talking about Marie Bly again. Let's see what the sheriff had to say. Very interested in what the sheriff has to say because he hasn't given up and he is ground zero. I mean, he's been involved in this since the beginning. So let's see.
Yeah, the way we do it when we have a fatality, we always release the basic facts of the accident, and we hold back on names just to give those families, you might have relatives out of state, and social media now instantly connects you to the world. So we always wait. Ultimately, people will try to get that out there. I mean, it's the talk of the town. Unfortunately, when it happens, it is the talk of the town. Yeah. I mean, we're small communities. When something like this happens, it affects everybody. So it's hard to control. It's a love-hate thing for social media. Yeah. The comments you get are probably the worst part sometimes. Yeah. It's okay if you use it to get your message out, but it's those little jabs here and there that can be frustrating. But I get it. Everybody's entitled to an opinion.
Yeah, even if there's wrong.
Yeah. We're never wrong, though.
Recently you had, I don't know who put this video together, but it was exceptionally well done. I think we published it, it looks like in August 23rd, regarding Marie Bly.
Right.
For those who don't know, what is this about?
Well, 10 years ago in August, we had a missing person case involving Marie Bly, and she has not been seen or heard from since. So at the 10-year anniversary, we wanted to do something to get people talking about this case again in hopes to gather some tips. And so we hired a company to help put the video together, and it was I think we got good results. We're currently investigating tips. I can't go into what the tips are, but it has worked. We had people talking about the case, and I think that was our goal, is to get this back to the forefront, because 10 years is a long time, and we forget. We tend to move beyond. We look at the news story, and we really want people to be aware that this is a mystery in our county, and we want it solved. We have to solve it.
Well, we'll put this back on we'll refresh it back to our main page on our website after we're finished here. But it looks like, just FYI, going back to kind of that Facebook love-hate thing, looks like you've had over 120,000 views on that Facebook video.
Right. And again, that's with our data, we show about 160,000 views through our site alone. And that was the goal.
Yeah.
I mean, how else do you reach that many people? So I think, like you say, love-hate, you can really use it as a good resource and a tool.
Sure. So
did National Center for Missing and Exploited help you with that, as far as the video and the age, what do they call that when you...
The age-enhanced photo?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We had somebody else work with us on the age-enhanced photo, and then we contracted with somebody locally for the video production. And I have one of the investigators who does some narrating, has a background in media.
Nice.
So he was a great resource.
But for those who don't know the backstory, and I'm sure you can't get into some things, but just the actual backstory of Marie Bly, what is that story?
Well, it's really a missing person, and she was supposed to go see a cousin by Cushing and was never seen from that point forward. Her car was located in Grantsburg, and she's vanished. So it's one of those people want to know.
Yeah. How old was she at the time?
20, I believe 21.
Okay. Wow.
And so, it's just one of those things where, who likes an unsolved mystery? Nobody. We want to know the answers. Her family's hurting. Her mom needs to know where her daughter is. I can't imagine living with that every day, that unknown.
Yeah, I'm not sure which is worse, actually, knowing if an individual has deceased. So, getting that, as we were talking earlier, the police coming up at 2 a.m. and that your child has, passed away, or your child has disappeared. I don't know if one's better, or not, I shouldn't say better, but which one has more of an impact. I don't know. I kind of almost feel like it's the not knowing. That's got to be, or at least it's a unique situation.
Right. And, that's the heartache of this when you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You can't move on. You can't move past it when you don't know.
Yeah. So what kind of, you've received some tips, and again, I'm sure you can't get into a whole lot, but has this been outside of just making sure people see what Rose might look like now, getting that name out there more, has any of this led to, these tips led to, I don't know what you would call it, is it progressed the investigation, I guess? Or we're still looking into all of those tips?
Well, we're looking into the tips, and we're progressing as well. And, there's a lot of legwork to do. There's a lot of interviews to do, and we're getting some new information, and that's all we can ask for. And some information is good, some information is bad in a case. There's sometimes you get information that runs you 90 degrees this way, and it ends at a dead end. But nevertheless, that's our job to look into this. And I'm happy that we've generated tips, because after 10 years, those tips pretty much go away. So this reinvigorates the case. This gets people thinking about it. And I was excited about it. I think it's been a good opportunity for us.
Yep. And I had seen that you had done a press conference as well.
Yes.
As you can see, this was still very, very heavy on his mind. They haven't let go. They haven't given up. And absolutely neither will we. Spread the word, you guys. They want us to talk about her. Somebody got us talking about her indirectly. I think this is all really strange. The DW trucking and Grantsburg for me. What happened to Rosemary Bly?
My life will never be normal without knowing where my daughter is.
The only footage in all those articles I just read, the only person that I've heard say anything is Grandma. Grandma cannot be the last person with everybody. That's suspect as hell, Grandma. Donald, are you covering for your stepmom? Candace says she's afraid of you, but which one? What's going on? Are you being framed? I don't know. Can somebody please, in that household, put your damn foot down? Sheesh. Or you're just going to keep disappearing from the face of the earth until the Bly family is no more. And all that will be left is the Wales boys. I'm so sorry. I'm so worked up right now. That map, when Grandma popped up, it just did something to me. I don't like it. Common denominator is Grandma. Grandma, that was your daughter and your granddaughter. What's going on? That's what I want to know. What's going on? Where are Rose and Summer? Jeez Louise. I'll keep digging, y'all. I'm still going to look into the husband. Yep, he cleared the polygraph, but he didn't clear the internet. You heard it. So we'll keep digging, because this is crazy. This story is getting crazier and crazier by the millisecond. And I know we want to know where these two people are now. And I do believe that's why the presence is so heavy out there. The FBI has the Bly family on the radar, and the Wells family. Maybe the Wells family because of the Bly family, or the Bly family because of the Bly family. What's up, Grandma? Maybe we just need you to come forward and talk to us. You can tell us about both of the situations. Summer coming for candy, Rose falling off a horse, and they both wandered away, never to be seen again. And Grandma, you were there. You were somewhere in the vicinity. I mean, you knew. I haven't heard them talk to anybody else that saw Rose last, even though she left from St. Croix and you were up in Grantsburg, I'm assuming you still happen to have for some reason, the thought that she got dizzy and wandered off. I mean, why would you have any clue if you were way up there at home with no knowledge? It's weird as usual with you guys.
On August 21st, 2009, Rose Bly left her rural Polk County home to visit a cousin in nearby Cushing, Wisconsin. It was the last time her family ever saw her.
The family's hurting. You know, that's why we're here today.
First-year Sheriff Brent Walk is making Bly's case a priority at the 10-year mark. Investigators have already interviewed 150 people and handled 200 tips.
Our focus now is to shift and try something new.
That includes releasing an age progression photo of what Bly would look like now at 31. And then there's this video.
And it's horrible. It's hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with.
The sheriff's office interviewed Bly's mother in a short video distributed to followers on social media.
It's not a good feeling. It's just, I wish I knew where she was.
We hope people share the story. We hope people start talking again about this. We want this to be in the forefront of what's going on.
The sheriff's office has never identified any suspects or any possible motive, but there was one early clue. Just days after she went missing, police found Bly's car here in this public parking lot in Grantsburg, about 30 miles north of where she lived. But still, there was no sign of Bly herself. Investigators at least recovered evidence and DNA from the car in Grantsburg. That town still remembers the case.
It's in the back of people's minds.
Megan Schauenberger was only a few years younger than Bly when she disappeared and wants to see this case solved.
It mean a lot, especially for this town. This town itself has been through a lot, but her family.
Bly's children have never known their mother.
This mystery is solvable. We just need to get that vital piece of information.
Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
Where are Rose and Summer? Flowers in the garden, please. For Rose and for Summer.
On August 21st, 2009, Rose Bly left her rural Polk County home to visit a cousin in nearby Cushing, Wisconsin. It was the last time her family ever saw her.
The family's hurting. You know, that's why we're here today.
First-year Sheriff Brent Walk is making Bly's case a priority at the 10-year mark. Investigators have already interviewed 150 people and handled 200 tips.
Our focus now is to shift and try something new.
That includes releasing an age progression photo of what Bly would look like now at 31. And then there's this video.
And it's horrible. It's hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with.
The sheriff's office interviewed Bly's mother in a short video distributed to followers on social media.
It's not a good feeling. It's just, I wish I knew where she was.
We hope people share the story. We hope people start talking again about this. We want this to be in the forefront of what's going on.
The sheriff's office has never identified any suspects or any possible motive, but there was one early clue. Just days after she went missing, police found Bly's car here in this public parking lot in Grantsburg, about 30 miles north of where she lived. But still, there was no sign of Bly herself. Investigators at least recovered evidence and DNA from the car in Grantsburg. That town still remembers the case.
It's in the back of people's minds.
Megan Schauenberger was only a few years younger than Bly when she disappeared and wants to see this case solved.
It mean a lot, especially for this town. This town itself has been through a lot, but her family.
Bly's children have never known their mother.
This mystery is solvable. We just need to get that vital piece of information.
Danny Spiewak, KARE 11 News.
Tucked away in the rolling hills and dense forests of northwest Wisconsin is a landscape so beautiful you'd swear it was taken directly from a painting. But if you look close enough, there is a dark cloud lingering in the distance. A secret that these roads have held onto for far too long. A secret that has haunted Candace Hare in this community for 10 long years.
And it's horrible. It's hard to deal with. Very hard to deal with. And my life will never be normal without knowing where my daughter is.
On August 21st, 2009, Rose Marie Bly left her residence in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin, believed to be en route to Cushing, just a short 6-mile drive to the east. The 21-year-old mother of two never made it. Days later, Bly's 2001 Pontiac Grand Am was found in the village of Grantsburg, nearly 17 miles north of her house, with no explanation as to how it got there. No one has seen or heard from her since. There hasn't been a day that has gone by when Candace Hare hasn't wondered where her youngest daughter is, or if she's okay.
With a missing child, there's a hole in your heart that can't be filled. And it's an impossible journey every day to wake up and wonder where she is.
Just trying to figure out where my daughter is. It's horrible. It's not a good feeling. It's just, I wish I knew where she was.
My name is Brent Walk, and I'm the Polk County Sheriff.
When Rose Bly went missing, Brent Walk was a patrol sergeant with the Polk County Sheriff's Department. Now Sheriff Walk and his office have made finding Bly a top priority. To date, the Sheriff's Department has investigated more than 200 tips and have interviewed more than 150 people. Still, the same question remains. Where is Rose Bly?
Well, I sympathize with the family of Rose because they want to know the answers, much like we do. And when these answers are largely unknown, that's very difficult to deal with. When you have to keep questioning what happened to Rose and where did she go, and certainly that is the solution we're looking for. We want to bring closure to this. 10 years, a decade, that's a lot of time. And you just look at what's changed in our lives and our careers, yet alone this case is still out there. And we would like to bring conclusion to it.
10 years.
I tried to avoid this area. And I can't. It just draws me back. And I don't know why.
Years of worry and wondering. A full decade Rose's children have had to spend without their mother. Someone knows something. Someone has the key. Everyone agrees it's time for this mystery to be solved. It's time for Rose to come home.
Not sure which way, but she's out there somewhere. It's hard not to cry. Even just out here looking, it just brings tears to our eyes. Not knowing, wondering what actually really happened that day.
Rosie, if you're out there, I still have the same number. I want to bring her home.